stop, the stage is live. Rows of casts and coded lines, EBR rods pulled from stock. Halo labeled, we run the clock. Cycle flips, the cast parade. Notice foul, the waste is made. Aurora, waste on deck. Aurora, rods recheck. Aurora, Halo Q. Aurora, labeled for you. Cold War stock, recycled flow. Casks relined, they labeled so. Refiners spin, array inside. A say read out, stage tonight. Cycle flips, the cask parade. Notice foul, the waste is made. Aurora, waste on deck. Aurora, rods recheck. Aurora, Halo Q. Aurora, labeled for you. Attention, Halo batch release. That powers the castle light. Sealed and labeled, the cues assigned. Chant the waste parade. All fuel staged in tricks we made. Aurora, waste on deck. Aurora, rods recheck. Aurora, Halo Q. Aurora, labeled for you. Aurora, loop, repeat. Aurora, labeled, complete. Aurora, hey, loose staged. Aurora, waste rebranded, caged.
Hello, everybody. Everything crashing on me at one time here. Let's get on with the show, I suppose. Had to bring in another external computer just to get some music, and so we can get the chat room, hopefully. Some nights are like this. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This song is about Oklo breaking ground for the first small modular reactor Aurora powerhouse. And since then, the company's basically in dire strait. It's a stupid industry. I don't know how the hell it got this far. Bear with me. Surprised I made it this far tonight. She's gonna make me fight everything here. Here we go. We'll get up and running. We got a good show, hopefully. Gotta get it working first. See this. We should get the poll anyway. Has the nuclear industry contaminated every square inch of Earth and every bird, animal, mammal, insect, you name it? And all the water, salt and fresh water on the entire planet? Yes. All the water on the planet is tritiated on top of that now because of the idiotic, cowardly, traitors, sadistic, lunatic nuclear industry. Man, it never stops. So Zelensky got $90 billion to throw away. So how much, if he's got $90 billion for weapons, how much did he just steal, I wonder? 10 billion, 20 billion? You know he's stealing 10, 20, 30% of everything he's getting. His wife is out buying $6 million Bugattis and luxury cars and everything else. He didn't have that kind of money before Ukraine war started. Ukraine nuclear power plant on emergency, that's like 10 times, is it? But the idea of that event, so-called war, was to create inflation worldwide. I actually made a video about it originally, how inflation was going to go nuts, and then everybody was supposed to have banned everything from Russia, except for China and a few other countries, to cause the Great Divide, drive up inflation worldwide, making it impossible for people to complain because they're too busy trying to get food on the table for their loved ones. It's a disgusting industry that just gets more sadistic every single year. $90 billion arms deal. Does anybody really believe this? I can't believe nobody assassinated that sack of shit yet. Why is that freak still alive? But the United States, $90 billion for the military-industrial complex. The United States gave them the $90 billion, and now they're going to spend it in the United States at the idiotic, sadistic military-industrial complex for weapons. Your biggest enemy on this planet, one of your biggest enemies, you got so many now you can't keep up with it, is the weapons manufacturing facilities. These are lunatics. They don't care how much slaughter as long as they get to work 5 days a week. McAllister bomb manufacturer only makes dirty bombs, depleted uranium munitions, which is a dirty bomb. That's the definition of a dirty bomb. It has all the attributes of a dirty bomb. Dirty industry, dirty bombs. Let's get after it. Russia nuclear submarine accident. The attack vessel at risk of exploding after serious accident while sailing. I didn't know a submarine sailed through the Mediterranean Sea. 240-foot Kilo class submarine, seen off the surface of the coast of Gibraltar. And there are reports that it is leaking fuel. Well, it has nuclear reactors. The fuel is leaking directly into the hole. How can you quantify that? How can they quantify that assertion? Something so secretive as a nuclear submarine with nuclear weapons. You know, did shit for brains, idiot industry done some research on a submarine that was scuttled in the Arctic, along with 18,000 other dumps that they created there that they acknowledge, that they admit to. The Mayak has been hemorrhaging material down the Tetra River to the ocean since it's been in existence. It is found that neither the submarine hull, try wrapping your mind around this statement, nor the reactor vessel will be destroyed by corrosion for at least 1,000 years. How does that, anybody know how that works? Anybody got any concept of how that actually works? I was a commercial diver for 14 years. And I've dove a lot of wrecks. I've done a lot of recoveries. I've never seen anything that didn't rust to hell within a couple of years. I've never seen nothing. But you had a nuclear submarine. Back in those days, on top of that, that was already brittle from gamma shines, neutron bombardments, and beta rays and alpha shines, and X-rays. Magically, it's not going to deteriorate for 1,000 years. You got any idea what kind of an incredible... That's an academic study. That's the state of your academic community. Every one of them should be taken out and drowned right above the submarine. It is found that neither the submarine... I can't even wrap my mind around the statement. Can anybody see Richard's comment? He says he's shadowed banned. I should shadow ban him after leaving that comment. He said, I guess I've been shadow banned again. Is it just me? Am I the only person who can see that comment? I don't give a shit anymore. How can a nuclear submarine or any ship sit on the ocean floor and all that salt and have no corrosion for 1,000 years. Shouldn't the academics that produced that study be taken down there and tossed inside of that and see if it lasts for 1,000 years? Stick them in there for 1,000 years. We'll check in 1,000 years. How can these people call themselves humans? How does that actually work? Say a nuclear submarine or the reactor vessel, maybe we should put all the nuclear reactors on the bottom of the ocean so they don't break down. This is an industry that hates our guts and is intent on killing every species just from radioactive fallout. Here's another nuclear submarine. Russian nuclear submarine fears as K-159 nuke vessel. This is another one. This is separate. This is number 3 I showed you tonight. Over 20 years ago, rusty and resty. How come that one's rusty? And this one that was scuttled with full of reactor fuel and reactor cores is not going to leak or corrode for at least 1,000 years. How can that be 1,000 years? And this one's only been there 20 years and is rusty. It was in poor condition and was not defueled. This is a million reasons to hate the nuclear industry, every facet of it too. If you don't hate the nuclear industry, something wrong with your head. Submarine lies at a depth of 246 meters, which is below its crushing depth. So like every 33 feet, there's 14.6 pounds per square inch. So it's guaranteed to crush at that depth. .246 meters in Kaloa Bay. And Kaloa Bay is way the hell in here. It's like 57 kilometers long, or miles long when you get there. They got to destroy everything. These big, beautiful, incredible fjords and inlets destroyed by the nuclear industry. And that runs all the way into here. The industry can only exist by destroying everything on the planet. And that's what has now officially got done to us. Everybody, every species. All the whales are emaciated post-Fukushima. You really think that's probably... That's the... COVID got that. That's why all the trees are losing their branches, because they got COVID, didn't it? Researchers have since then monitored the wreck, fearing leakage of radioactivity from the 2 old reactors on board. Well, that would have crushed. The minute it hit the ocean floor, it would have already been crushed in hemorrhaging radiation. Same with all the barrels. How many hundreds of thousands? Like France acknowledged they dumped 200,000 45-gallon drums. Every one of them would have been crushed before they hit the ocean floor. Because the top and bottoms are crimped on. The best way to kill the planet is to put the nuclear industry on it. That's the guarantee. You're guaranteed to destroy every species. And they capture your universities and your media, and that means you'll never get rid of them. It's a disgusting industry. Like the human experiments that have done, like Hanford says they got 177 300,000-gallon drums. We'll call them drums. These big, huge containers, 300 plus thousand gallons. They actually dumped 1.4 million of those into the soil. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the 1.4 million of these massive containers they dumped into the soil, 41 miles of unlined trenches. Worry about the 177. Not 1,700 or 177,000 or anything like that. 177. That's what they're doing to you. That's the game they're playing with you. And meanwhile, they got all that hemorrhaging into the Columbia River and everything else, and water tables. They acknowledge there's 200 square miles of water tables there that are insidiously radioactive. And they're always, we got 144 tanks, we don't know what to do with it. We should drown every nuclear scientist on the planet in it. That's the right thing to do. I can't believe the whole planet is not trying to exterminate everybody in the nuclear industry. I can't wrap my mind around it. The industry is so good at hiding what it's got done. Otherwise, everybody on the planet would be trying to kill everybody in the nuclear industry. Richard's not blocked, by the way, or banned or anything else. Let's keep going. Fucking stupid industry. The whole planet should be gone to war against the nuclear industry, every facet of it. And I mean gone to war too. And extermination. You should be exterminating that industry, everybody in it. Researchers have since then monitored direct fearing leakage. If you never heard the word leak, I just want to toss a nuclear academic over a fucking skyscraper. A radioactivity from the 2 old nuclear reactors on board. The 2 old. Just crushed before it even hit the bottom. Is at the bottom of the Bering Sea, one of the most, where where the 10 billion crabs are missing from? The K-159 still contains about 800 kilograms of spent nuclear fuel in its 2 reactors. Says who? This thing crushed before it hit the bottom. Like, it still blows my mind that they would say that the old submarine that's full of nuclear fuel and everything else to sink won't decay for 1,000 years. The problem with this planet is we've got too many fucking cowards on it. Impacts on the terrestrial environment in case of a hypothetical accident involving the recovery of the dumped Russian nuclear submarine. Here's number 4. You got any idea how many nuclear subs have been dumped just by Russia? It was 160 of them just ran up on the beach in northern Russia, and they just left them there. There was no way to decommission them. There was no way to take them apart. And if you did take them apart, you're going to, and they did, quite a few of them now since, they contaminate the entire planet, over each one of them. It's the only element on the planet that has the ability to contaminate the entire planet is man-made radiation. La, 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 la. That just crashed because I tried to open a browser. Objects containing radioactivity be routinely dumped in the Arctic waters. They got 18,000 confirmed dumps there. Until the 1990s, one of the most radioactive objects in the region, the nuclear submarine K-27, one of the most radioactive objects, contained spent nuclear fuel. An ingress of water into the reactor in situ, leading to a spontaneous chain reaction. An onboard fire when it's being removed at the mainland decommissioning site on the Kola Peninsula, the nuclear wasteland peninsula. Norwegian territory could be affected by fallout. If Norwegian territory can be affected, the whole planet can be. Shit for brains. To a level 2 orders of magnitude lower than those observed at Chernobyl. You don't even acknowledge what happened at Chernobyl. To this day, they still say only 30 people died. It's over 1 million. That was 5,500 studies that came out of Russia and were translated by a medical institution in New York City. Potential doses primarily due to ground shine. That's everywhere, worldwide. Ground shine is the entire planet. Because this shit for brain idiot industry. This is an idiot industry. The worst humans imaginable, that's the nuclear industry. They're literally the worst humans you can imagine. And you don't need to do this every day for 80 years, even though that's what they just done to us. I mean, the French Polynesian nuclear test from the French was equal to a Nagasaki bomb a day for something for 12 years. I mean, just one of the Soviet Union's bombs was equal to 3,800 or 4,000 Nagasaki bombs at the one time. That's a nuclear war of the worst magnitudes, too. And radiation is and this plume here is Neptunium, which decays to plutonium-239 2.5 days. Isn't that a joke? You covered the whole planet got gamma shines, alpha rays, beta rays, neutron bombardments on the entire planet, every square inch of it. Every square fucking inch of it. Because the planet has let this industry get away with it. Your politicians let them get away with it over and over and over. Potential dose is primarily due to ground shine. Radiation's on the ground, is pulsing energy at the speed of light. It sterilizes every species so they stop reproducing. That's why we have no species hardly left. Just a matter of another decade. Another decade there'll be no whales. Next year there'll be no gray whales. The 14,000 died post-Fukushima. The 13,000 that are left are dropping dead everywhere. They were emaciated last year in a 12,000-mile migratory run. When they got there, every one of the gray whales were emaciated. No babies survived a migratory run last year. This is the first time in history we've ever heard of anything like that. That was running north. This year they've gone south, and they're way behind schedule because they're so weak and thin and emaciated and starving to death. There's no food. There's no food for them. There's no food for any of the other big whales or the birds. To a critical group of personnel on site resulting from an SCR could require preventive measures based on the worst humans again, the ICRP, International Committee on Radiation Protection / United Nations. Literally the worst humans you can imagine. I don't even know if they're humans. I got no proof they're actually humans. There's a lot of proof suggesting that there's some kind of entity or sadistic demons. Why would you take a voice from an industry known as United Nations, which has no sovereignty over any country, is 195 militaries, and it's done nothing but evil since it existed, and 20 to 100 millisieverts, radioactive fallout, that radioactive fallout is not millisieverts, that's physical atoms. You breathe it in, you're drinking it, you're fucking eating it. There's millisieverts and microsieverts, but that's not what you're looking at. You're looking at a plume of radiation, of atoms, isotopes, a plume of it, covering the entire fucking planet in 20 days. Everybody out there with their fucking head up their arse. Oh, somebody else will fucking fix it. Somebody else is going to fix it. Potential dose primary due to ground shine. I don't know how anybody can stand. Anybody can say nuclear scientists and not have nothing but contempt and hate in their fucking voice. To a critical group of personnel on site, a critical group of scumbags, degenerates, confirmed monsters. Doses to non-human biota in Norway for the scenario would be negligible, typical of background dose radiation for terrestrial organism. Background dose is not based on anthropogenic man-made radiation. It's based on harmless, innocuous, and benign stuff that everybody's already acclimated to through genetic superior selection. People that write stuff like that have to be put in jail or get the death penalty. These are the fucking scum The worst scumbags you can imagine. They're destroying everybody's future now and every species. Every fucking species. The potential for radioactive contamination in the Arctic is strikingly apparent because of the presence of a wide range of nuclear sources within that region. Dumped radioactive waste contribute the greatest proportions to the total activity in the Arctic, followed by inputs from Sellafield. What about La Hague in France? What about Dynamite in Scotland reprocessing sites? I got all kinds of studies showing they contaminated the Arctic and Europe. Reprocessing fuel. And all you got to do is create a study that says it don't and put that on the application and they go, whip, rubber stamp. Fuck you, fuck planet. Why are you letting him get away with that? You think I'm here every day because this is not fucking real? Of these dumped objects containing spent nuclear fuel, objects arguably constitutes the greatest cause for concern, reflecting their potential to be the source for substantial radionuclides. Potential! I gotta get off this fucking story before I go look for a nuclear scientist, kick the shit out of him. And the undesirable consequence. If you're going to be a nuclear academic or nuclear scientist, and you're a male, you should have your fucking scrotum cut off right away. If you're female, you should have your tubes tied right away. Irreversible, too. There's zero possibility you should be allowed to have a fucking kid. So what a little demon to take over your spot when you're fucking gone. Regular dumping of liquid and solid radioactive waste in the Arctic was practice. Practice! By the former USSR and later by Russia. The fuck do you think United States, Canada, and France been doing? Like, United Kingdom spent 30 years with special built freighters going out there every day dumping 45-gallon drums over. They know that before it hits the bottom, the top and the bottom, which are crimped down, are going to get crushed. And they're going to release their inventories before they even hit the fucking ground, the ocean floor. And that it would wipe out the species eventually. Do you think for 1 second they didn't know what the fuck they were doing? If United Nations didn't exist, if nuclear industry didn't exist, this planet would be friggin' amazing. It would be amazing. The species and the life and the abundance and just... It'd be an amazing experience. But because this industry can only exist by lying about every fucking facet, it's a coward industry. The sunken nuclear submarine and its effect on the environment is found that neither the submarine hull nor the reactor vessel will be destroyed by corrosion for 1,000 years. Can anybody name me a single thing on the fucking planet that has that attribute? That actually has that attribute? How can I even do another story when I'm looking at that? Like, do you get any idea how evil an industry got to be to write something like that in an academic study, get it published? Published? It's such a delusional statement. Yet that is used to justify more nuclear submarines, more dumping, more this, more that. Neither the submarine hull or the reactor vessel will be destroyed by corrosion for at least 1 billion years. 100 billion years. We'll go back in 1,000 years, we'll have another look. So shut the fuck up. How can anybody on this planet in positions of authority not appreciate the fucking enormity of this. All the alternative medias out there with their fucking fist up their arses, screeching about politics to keep you fucking divided instead of unifying you and educating you and informing you. You can't even say the word Trump to anybody because they get triggered immediately. They're hit from every direction they look. That's on purpose so that this stuff means nothing to them. Oh, it doesn't have Trump on it. I want to hear about fucking Trump. How many medias you got on this planet? This stupid fucking planet now? This radioactive nuclear wasteland you call a planet? What's the point if you're not going to fight for your planet? Oh, don't worry, Dan. It's equal to it'd be 1,000 years, Dan, before it gives up the ghost. And why would a major media publish that? Elsevier, which is the biggest publisher on the planet. Oh, sure, we'll let you publish that. That's a great lie. We like that one. That's hilarious. Whenever there's a nuclear action, we'll just show them that one and say, don't worry, it's all good for 1,000 years. You're safe. You're safe. Put your fucking mask on. Stand 6 feet. 6 feet safe. Stand 6 feet apart. 6 feet safe. You're in the restaurant. Okay, take your fucking mask off. Now go ahead and eat. Can small nuclear reactors help power the AI boom and fight climate change? Can throwing you off a fucking cliff make the world better? Yes. Look, why are you talking about small modular reactors when you don't exist? You're shit for brains. You fucking scumbag. You fucking useless fuck. La 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 la. It's all gone to shit tonight anyway. Might as well keep going that way. The day's coming when it's going to be legal. It's going to be encouraged to go and run fucking nuclear academics down on the side of the fucking road. That day's coming. This industry is going to make sure of it. It's going to drive everybody on the planet insane. Too late for Dana. I'm already fucking nuts. Why nuts? Because I give a shit. I'm only angry because I fucking care. If you're not angry about this, there's something wrong with your head. Can small nuclear reactors help power the AI boom? No, you fucking shit for brains. What AI boom? The one that's going to enslave the entire fucking planet and fight climate change. Nuclear is climate change. 80 years of emissions that are pulsing energy at the speed of light for millions of years. That's fucking climate change. It's going to cost $350 billion and raise the reactor output by 63%. 63. I thought you were going to triple it by 2050. Yeah, well, there. Look, Trump is there. That's a good trigger. Everybody right there now can go pick up something, fucking break it. We'll add 53 gigawatts of new capacity to the existing fleet. These are fantasies. These are fucking fantasies. How are you going to add 53 gigawatts with small modular reactors that don't even fucking exist? Am I wrong in saying that? Am I wrong in saying that it's stupid to put all your eggs in a basket where that doesn't even fucking exist? Geothermal is a better solution, isn't it? The main reason beyond the growth is the surge in artificial intelligence, data centers. They need far more electricity than the grid currently delivers. How do you know that? You haven't built them fucking things yet. You don't even have small modular reactors, let alone all these. It still falls short of the official target. Dozens of companies, there's 100 companies trying to develop small modular reactors, but none of them are really trying it. They're just there to milk the system. And it's the same thing with 100 companies allegedly trying to develop fusion, which is working on a 1904 patent. There's no innovation. The small modular reactors are based on the current designs. There's no innovation. And there's no nuclear renaissance. There should be public execution for everybody in the nuclear industry. Just get fucking rid of them. Nuclear energy primed for a resurgence in the United States. Really? It's primed. You got to buy stocks in all the scumbag small modular reactor companies. That's what that's all about. 3 weeks later, the big banks will sell their shares, which artificially inflated the stocks in the first place. They're doing it every month. Only 3 new reactors have been built in the United States this century, and none is currently under construction. Oh, they got to put a little disclaimer there, do they? That's nice of them. Last year, it was 660 gigawatts of just solar. 660 gigawatts. You say, well, wind doesn't blow all the time. The sun doesn't shine all the time. If you put your wind power over long distances, then the wind always blows all the time in most of those places. Not all of them, but most of them. Say 9 out of 10 places the wind's blowing. If you put all your big wind towers in a place where there's not much wind and then say that it doesn't work, well, why doesn't it work? Because you artificially constructed that, didn't you? Why wouldn't you use geothermal? How can you be that fucking stupid? You still haven't developed geothermal on this planet. Well, because you won't need nuclear or small modular reactors shit for brain industry anymore. Hey, calm down. Put your paper suit on, Charlie. Aiming for an annual growth rate of 40% on average, which means this year we should get 900 gigawatts, which is almost triple the entire capacity of nuclear in a single year in just solar. And you can be triple that this year in geothermal if you put 1,000th of the money you're throwing away on the idiot small modular reactor corporations and the fusion idiot machine. You're 50 years away from developing any of it. Geothermal actually exists. I know that sounds fucking crazy. Let's go after something that already exists. I know that's nuts. I know that's an insane statement. Department of Energy can't pin down cost scheduled for nuclear cleanup, says the audit. They got so many Superfund sites that's just all they're doing there is just setting the stage so they can quantify giving this industry a couple of $100 billion. The Department of Energy, the least, well, besides the nuclear industry, the second closest to non-humans, is unable to outline the precise costs and schedules for waste cleanup, nuclear waste cleanup at federal sites that produce nuclear weapon material. This is legacy. So the legacy materials from 80 years ago, they still haven't fucking figured out how to clean it up. Well, that's okay. We'll leave it for the generation, couple of hundred generations down the road, Dana. And by then there'll be no species, so there'll be nothing to stop them from cleaning it up. I get cranky sometimes. Not enough, but sometimes. At just 8 of the 12 sites, cleanup could cost roughly $15 billion. Like, first off, no matter what number they give you, it's going to be at least 4 times that number. Hanford, they're looking at least $700 billion just for that one site. And we're not talking about the 1.4 million massive tanks 300,000 gallon tanks to 450 billion gallons they dumped in the soil in the 50s and 60s of waste that is still splitting atoms. The 8 sites investigated include the Hanford site. Now, like suggesting that the Hanford site could do a fucking thing with $15 billion, it's sure $15 billion is ludicrous. When Hanford is acknowledged, we have it there, I'm not going to bother with looking for it tonight. Maybe I will just because I'm stupid. I'm a fucking idiot. Is expecting at least $700 billion to clean up that site in at least 300 years. No show last night. I was too busy screaming at my screen. I forgot to do one. I was just too burnt out. I ran into the fucking ground. And there's nobody else out there fucking doing it. Nobody else out there is educating the population. It's crazy to even suggest that that's true. Why is every nuclear power plant surrounded by farms as far as you can see? Oh, because all the fuel pools are still splitting atoms for millions of years. Do you get it? You get how evil this industry actually is? If you actually understood it, here you go. I apologize, folks. There's nothing I can do about it. If I don't get fucking mad, then there's something wrong with me. If I get mad, then I'm swearing too fucking much. You go watch Joe Rogan, let him swear all fucking night, won't open your mouths, and you'll complain about me. And that's the best case scenario in the news report. It's going to cost triple, up to $677 billion. Clean up ad for it. No, Dad, it's sure $15 billion. Just fuck off and die, you piece of shit. Bigelow is a house of dynamite, adds nuclear catastrophe to our long list of worries. So consider socially acceptable to bitch about nuclear weapons, but not bitch about 1,000 fuel pools releasing more radiation each day than all the weapons on the planet combined production did. You got 1,000 fuel pools full of decades of reactor cores splitting atoms into your environment, and you're not gone to war against this industry. That's something you're going to have to, on your deathbed, you will all regret that. I can tell you that much right now. And I'll regret it too. Adds nuclear catastrophe to our long list of worries. No, they don't. They don't mention nuclear power's perpetual releases. You fucking cowards. Oscar winning means nothing. It means you're part of that fucking idiot machine that's dared to betray you. So you're worried about detecting missiles instead of this fucking missile that has already gone off and has destroyed the planet in 14 fucking years. Let's worry about something that might happen instead of what's fucking happening. Russia risks another Fukushima. Zaporizhzhia nuclear disease factory suffers days-long blackout. But Fukushima has already happened, you fucking idiot. And you refuse to acknowledge, the same people writing that headline refuses to acknowledge this happened. No, Dana, it looks like this. They're both the official pictures. Do you get any idea how fucking crazy this story is? There's not a single story about nuclear that's not fucking nuts. Russia risks another Fukushima. You fucking lowlifes. Surrounded by farms as far as you can see, every nuclear power plant. It's been with external electricity. Well, they're not running. They've been shut down for like a year and a fucking half. Fukushima was running. The fuel pools all melted down too, you shit for fucking brains. Stress tests carried out by European regulators after the Fukushima accident in 2011 indicated the plant would withstand a loss of external power for 72 hours. It's been no power for like 10 fucking days. Record blackout of Europe's largest nuclear plant occupied by Russia. Ukraine sounds the alarm. Like Zelensky shouldn't even be fucking alive. And he's went to every country here. Nobody whacked that fucking piece of shit is insane. Stupid fucking planet. Stupid fucking cowards. Nobody's willing to take one for the team. Oh, here we go. Oklo Incorporation stocks rose 6.1% in pre-market trading Monday after the Advanced Nuclear Technology Company, and they're partnered up with another bunch of shitheads. The Blykalla is developing a 55 megawatt lead-cooled fast reactor based on 25 years of research. Look, you got 25 years trying to figure out how to build it, you're a fucking scam artist. You're not going to build it and you're just a scam artist. The technology's been out there for 80 fucking years. So they've been looting their country for 25 fucking years. Welcome to the machine. Pacific Fusion opened a facility in New Mexico. World Nuclear News. We've only seen one occasion where they put their name on a story. Nobody ever knows who writes these fucking stories. By the way, World Nuclear News is a nuclear lobbying group. They're the very last media you want to be getting your sources from. And so I got no room to talk tonight because I've done it again. I generally ignore those fuckers and find the story somewhere else. California headquartered Pulse Magnetic Fusion, but I like screaming about them, so that kind of helps sometimes. Pulse Magnetic Fusion System. You're down 300 million degrees Celsius. You can't contain 9,000 degrees Celsius, or Fahrenheit rather, Fahrenheit is what I meant to say before. A manufacturing campus. It'll create good jobs and expand our clean tech economy. There's nothing clean about nuclear. Nuclear is the death of every species on the planet from the emissions. And they don't put their name on the story because they're afraid somebody will find them eventually and rip their fucking head off. Pacific Fusion, Pacific Scam, was founded in 2023. Much of the future growth is expected to come from small modular reactors, which promise faster, cheaper, and too cheap to fucking meter, but remains unproven. They don't have a fucking reactor. Why are you putting all your hopes and dreams into something that doesn't exist instead of something like geothermal, which actually exists? U.S. scientists / the stupidest people Earth ever created reached a long-awaited nuclear fusion breakthrough, scumbag says Ella Nelson. Literally a fucking scumbag. U.S. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm will make an announcement. This story, by the way, is 2022, I think. Yeah, 2022. You like this one? So I put this in there because I want you to think about the hype of fusion. So in 2022, in December, just before Christmas, this story came out. And then everybody rushed to buy stocks in this fusion company. But nobody bothered reading the fucking story. A major scientific breakthrough, says the energy secretary at the time. And so when they asked her how much energy did it produce, because they had to pump the temperatures up to 150 million degrees Celsius. They had to use the same energy as New York. And then they were able to extract, 10 take away that much energy that they use, like the same energy as New York, and how much energy was left over? It was enough to boil 10 kettles of water. So what the fuck are you talking about? How many kettles of water can New York City boil in the amount of time that they had in that experiment? Because what is it, like 10 million people there? And they figured that when you extracted the energy the energy they got back, they got that energy back, and they produced enough extra energy to boil 10 kettles of water. How the fuck can you quantify that? And he took in something like $6 billion in stocks at Christmas because people were sucked into it. They didn't read the stories. And so just before that, it was earlier that year, they said they had net gain energy. And when they were asked how much energy did they net gain, so they said, we had to put in the equivalent of New York City to fire up the fusion. It was only a millionth of a second or something, right? So they put in the same energy as New York would use, and then there was enough energy, extra energy created. It was equal to a 9-volt battery. Like, it's such a it's so far-fetched, it's so ludicrous, that if the investors heard that version of it, they would never buy stocks, right? But they never hear those versions. Like even 10 kettles of water. Have you seen these facilities? These massive, stupid facilities? These idiot waste of precious resources, precious metals, and academics. They don't put a nickel into fucking geothermal. Everything has to go into whatever nuclear the United Nations want in the nuclear industry. The United Nations is doing it worldwide to everybody. Everybody has to do whatever United Nations says. If United Nations says we need 35 billion here, 10 billion over there, 100 billion over here, everybody will pile their money together and give it to them because United Nations, the sadistic demons, we're going to be doing a video on churn coming up in the near future, which is United Nations. Wait till you get a load of this stuff. It's about what it takes to boil 10 kettles of water. The co-director of the Centre for Inertia Fusion Studies, Imperial College in London, where Kathryn Higley's to, and Robert Gale, and the rest of these sadistic monsters. It's just 150 million degrees Celsius. So they pumped it up to 150 million degrees Celsius. 10 times hotter than the core of the sun. And they figured they extracted enough energy to boil 10 extra kettles of water. Well, first off, 150 million degrees Celsius will boil whatever water you throw at it. Like an explosion. Water expands, like a liter of water expands 1,800 square feet in a millisecond, right? So imagine hitting it with 150 million degrees Celsius, or I thought it was close to 300 million degree Fahrenheit temperatures. The plasma needs to reach at least 150 million degrees Celsius, and it only boiled 10 kettles of water. Something pretty fishy. Something pretty weird. It's about what it takes to boil 10 kettles of water. Someone should fucking boil them, is what they should do. Breakthrough as the fusion experiment generates excess energy for the first time. Ho ho! 13, it's the same week, the same date maybe. Look at this thing. All the precious metals on the planet, fucking throw it into the nuclear industry, you can never use it again. Or throw it in, and more, even stupider, into a satellite so it can spy on you, you can still never use it again. No, we gotta worry about Donald Trump data. Shut the fuck up. Well, thank God, it worked. They boiled an extra 10 kettles of water. I know I feel fucking pretty satisfied. What did it cost, $35 billion or something to boil 10 kettles of water? Not that they can do it again, but they done it that time, Dana. That's why they sold all those stocks in 2022. This was equivalent to the energy of 2 Mars chocolate bars, or 6 kettles of water. So you jacked it up to 300 million degree Fahrenheit temperatures. You spent billions and billions and billions of dollars, and you got enough extra energy. It was equivalent to 2 Mars bars. Yeah, I know what you're saying. No, Dana, that's a fucking lie. They never said that. No, they said it. There it is. I know what you're saying, Dana. Dana photoshopped it. I want you to sit and look at that. I got to get out of the way. My ugly fucking head out of the way. Equivalent to the energy of 2 Mars chocolate bars. Everybody should get 2 Mars chocolate bars and keep it with them everywhere they go. If you see a nuclear scientist or an academic, throw it at them. Well, thank fucking God they got all the precious metals on the planet. That couldn't have happened without that. We're so lucky we got nuclear scientists. Doesn't that reassure you in the academic community? Doesn't that make you feel all warm and fucking fuzzy inside? Someone tells you, like, oh, my daddy works on a fusion reactor, tell him to shut the fuck up, man. Shut the fuck up, you little turd. You little pinhead. Any academic that tells you that they're in the nuclear industry, just spit on them. Do yourself a favor and everybody else on this planet. Spit right in their fucking face. Not like they're going to do anything, they're fucking cowards. You know I'm right. They do fuck all. What you got to get is a card that backfires, right? And go down to the university when they're all getting out of class and they're all headed towards the cafeteria. Start the car up and let it backfire. Every one of them will shit their pants. And curl up in the corner, they'll start crying. Call the police. Equivalent to the energy of 2 Mars chocolate bars. I can't believe they would say something like that, actually. They used enough energy to power New York for a millionth of a second. And they were able to extrapolate from that a whole bunch of calculations, because they're so fucking smart. There was enough energy left over. That's the proof of their idea was there was enough energy left over. It was equivalent to 2 Mars chocolate bars. Like, I can't even wrap my mind around that fucking statement. That's your evidence. Imagine if you're a banker or you're an investor, and they sit there and they want you to invest a few $1 billion in their fusion company. And he says, well, we produced enough extra energy. We got proof now. And you say, well, how much energy it was? Well, it was enough, for 2 Mars chocolate bars. You would call the security to have them thrown the fuck out of the building, right? Or better, throw them off the fucking roof. Then they stopped doing stuff like that. Oh, but I mean, look at it, then it's pretty fancy. All that work, you produce enough energy equal to 2 Mars chocolate bars. Your parents should be put in fucking jail for not drowning you in a bucket of vomit when you were fucking born. The 4 harmonious friends of U.S. nuclear power. This is an industry that is full of fucking nut jobs, morons. The industry is full of morons. Like, they're literally morons. Most of them, they have to have help to tie their fucking shoes in the morning. The fruits of a real nuclear renaissance are within reach in the United States. Do you fucking believe this? The country is now ill-prepared to buy nuclear reactors at scale. It brings us back to the legend. In the nuclear renaissance, the United States cannot succeed without friends. South Korea, Japan, Canada, Europe. Each bring their distinct advantages that fill us what the US lacks, like Mars bars. Canada already is a key US partner in nuclear fuel supply. Well, for their reactors, the Tritium, 3H, as it has the world's highest grade uranium deposits and conversion facilities to produce uranium hexafluoride for enrichment. Yeah, Canada's so pro-nuclear. My country is so pro-nuclear, they'll kill everybody in Canada just to keep the nuclear industry alive. They won't fucking hesitate either. Lock you up in your house for years and years. The small modular reactor space remained untested with no commercial reactors in operation. So why the fuck are we talking about it? They have one company which is a scam artist with an application approved, but they don't even have the full fucking application into the regulatory agency. They just stamped it to make the industry look reasonable. They acknowledged that. I apologize, I get a little fucking cranky sometimes. You know, all the emaciated whales kind of do that to me sometimes. The missing fucking 46 million migratory birds here. No, because if I tell people here there's 46 million migratory birds missing, I just say about Trump. I just say Trump and they'll shit themselves and start screaming at you. You got 46 million migratory birds missing. I haven't found a fucking person in this fucking they call this place Alcatraz, right? 2 million people left. There's 500,000 people here, and 500,000 people here are not too fucking clever at all. They're all caught up in their own little idiotic worlds. Don't give a fuck about the planet. It's all by design. I shouldn't say anything, I suppose. They're a pretty fucking sorry lot. The last 5 years I've been telling them, there's 46 million migratory birds are missing. They're like, we never had that many birds anyway. Europe and North America together, it's mind-boggling that you can't have a conversation. Blows my mind, right? Yeah, 46 million migratory birds are missing. You hear what Trump is doing? Europe and North America together accounted for 45 of the 74 small modular reactor designs actively under development. They're not under development. Where's the evidence they're under development? Like, we follow this fucking shit all day, every day, for decades. 24 years. If it's under development, I'd fucking know about it. Nuclear missile workers are contracting cancer. They blame the bases. Well, the nuclear bombs that they can't use, the idiot machines, they have to top them off with tritium all the time because you can't contain the tritium. On top of that, tritium deteriorates, right? Decays every 12 years, by 50%. But they can't contain the tritium anyway because everything becomes tritiated. Any kind of moisture is tritiated from these fucking stupid machines. I will walk you through the song and dance, the lies and nonsense. But what's the point, right? It's all lies. That's what they tell you. They come out with all these lies. Oh, there's no evidence here. There's no evidence there. And then the chemicals that they acknowledge are used in schools for caulking in schools and commercial buildings. It gave everybody cancer. That's what they're trying to blame it on something else, which is most likely real. But the radiation can't cause cancer, Dana. It only causes cancer if it gets loose. It's never been loose, Dana. The missiles are housed in silos spread across parts of Montana, North Dakota, Wyoming, Colorado, Nebraska. People don't fucking realize what I'm talking about. Let me show you a map of these silos. If you really want to see, it'll take me a second. That's a lie. I don't know if I can do anything in a second, can I? There you go. We'll get it. It's right here. I'm on the right page. This is one of the maps. So each of these communities are human shields for the nuclear weapon that's in them. Almost every one of them are farmland, by the way. They got this fixation with poisoning farmland because, you eat food, right? And your children eat food. So if you poison the farmland with radiation, that's the best way to get you. Every nuclear power plant is surrounded by farms. Total coincidence. It found that the death rates for 4 types of common cancer were significantly lower in the missile layers than in the general population. The minute you hear anything, and we hear these versions all the time, it means it's hemorrhaging editor. How can it be significantly lower? How the fuck does that actually work? Nobody blinks an eye. Well, that's great news. Get me some of that. I got to get a job there. Less chance of cancer, Dana. Do you got any idea what kind of fucking lie that actually is? Wherever there's nuclear, cancer is lowest. That's what they tell you over and over and over. You'll hear from every nuclear site, we got significantly less cancer than the general population. And anybody that's not nuclear is the general population. You're the public, or the civilians, right? Because they're better than you. They're above you. That's why they call you that. When they call you population, when they call you the public or the civilians, they're talking down to you. You're their boss, for fuck's sakes. You're paying the bills. We're significantly lower in the missile layers than in the general population. How does that work again? Anybody want to explain that to me? How can it be lower? France could become the first nation to master nuclear fusion. But it's not. It's nowhere near it. France is fucking broke, for goodness sakes. They went through 5 prime ministers in 2 fucking years. There's a civil war going on there instead of a war against the bureaucrats. The war should never be civil. It should be against the bureaucrats. They brought in that many immigrants down there now that the population can't even get a job anymore. So I should have laughed. The same thing right here where I'm living. We have 500,000 people. They brought in 300,000 immigrants. There wasn't enough jobs for the 500,000 people that were here. They brought in 300,000 immigrants. They're all getting major money every month. You see them shopping, man. They're dressed in the best clothes I ever seen anybody in Newfoundland ever dressed in. Their carts are stacked as high as they can. They get a house. They got perfect credit after 6 months of working at Tim Hortons Donuts or wherever. Buy a house. They can sponsor in their other, I've never seen nothing like it. But we're seeing the same thing in the United Kingdom, the same thing in the States, same thing here, the same thing in France, and a whole bunch of countries post-Fukushima. Well, post-Gaza, really. The nation's commitment to fusion technology development represents 70 years of hardcore research. Decades of 70 years. They're no closer now than they were 70 years ago. And international collaboration. That's the one you got to worry about. Like the CERN, the Large Hadron Collider, which is a 27-kilometer underground experiment, is opening portals where they're actually brought in entities. One of them actually took a scarf when he went back into the portal. They're now saying there's 17 dimensions. This is all United Nations, by the way. And when they had their opening ceremony, they had all these people, they brought in all these artists, right? And dancers, and dressed them up as the devil, and there's the Shiva from India's, the the goddess of destruction. They even have one of those at United Nations, in the United Nations major conference, please. How geothermal energy can provide always-on supply. Ooh, you're not allowed to talk about something that works. Geothermal downsides includes the substantial upfront cost of drilling the holes. That's substantial, is it? Have you seen what they're trying to do with nuclear for 80 years? The substantial cost of nuclear? It takes 15 years to even come close with everything is triply inspected. They got to use all the best of the best material only. Geothermal can be up and running. Anything a small modular reactor can do, geothermal can do it. A small modular reactor can do something in the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Geothermal can do it in 12 months. And they won't put any money into the research. Like the Quatsi Electric, I got a story about Quatsi Electric, had just drilled through granite 50 times quicker than any other drill has been able to do with their technique, right? Nuclear fusion, the ultimate dream of humanity. Humanity don't give two fucks about nuclear fusion. I don't know a fucking person in my life that has said, Jesus Christ, we're going to have fusion one day, but it's going to be, can't wait for it. I dreams about it every fucking night. I've never heard anybody say that. The ultimate dream, like, who the fuck are these people that speak for humans, for humanity? We're humanity or public or fucking civilians. Is nuclear stirred up? Oklo losing market power? Of course they are. What fucking power? They don't even have an application into the regulatory agency. Yeah, but they're cracking, they're digging a site, Dana. Shut the fuck up. You don't even know what you're talking about. That's AI, by the way. All of this is, that's all AI. That's not fucking real. None of these are real. None of those chicken-looking neck. Nuclear energy firm Oklo may be teetering on something of a meltdown. Again, this is every 3-4 weeks, right? So what happens is the 14 biggest financial institutions buy shares in Oklo and NuScale and I was going to say Ultra Safe Nuclear, but they went bankrupt. I was going to say another bunch of companies, they're all gone bankrupt. And what they're doing now is they'll buy the patents from the companies that are gone bankrupt. And therefore, you should, and they're on the stock market, no product, no license, no applications into the regulatory agency. What's happening to one of the year's hottest stocks? They were artificially inflated by the 14 biggest financial institutions, which was agreed upon at Conference of Parties 28. You know, UN. And so they buy stocks for 3 weeks. You know, each of the 3 or 4 of the biggest financial institutions will buy 6, 7, 8, 9 million shares. The investor was like, holy fuck, them shares are selling like crazy. They don't know who bought it. So they're like, I got to put some money in there. That's growing like crazy. And then 3 weeks later, the biggest financial institutions will sell their stocks because the price went up, and they'll steal the unsuspecting investors' profits, and then unsuspecting investors will sell their short because they work for their fucking money all their lives. This is Chernobyl or did you get what to do with their Chernobyl bull or Chernobyl beer? Man, you got to be some seriously evil people in that industry. Before last week, Oklo stocks had soared more than 550% since the start of the year. Yeah, because the 14 biggest financial institutions on the planet hoodwinked you. It's called a Ponzi scheme. Look it up sometime. May have been a case of putting the radioactive cart before the horse. Not may have been. They don't have a fucking product. They don't have an application into the regulatory agency, for goodness sakes. Why would you buy stocks in a company where you can't get your money back? The only way you can get any profit is on speculation. That somewhere down the road, they're going to get it right. Why would you put your stocks in something like that after working all your life for it? You wouldn't, right? Has the nuclear industry contaminated every inch? Square inch of Earth, every bird, animal, mammal, and the water onto it, and every species? Every human? Yeah. That's exactly what has now happened to us. Do you think they're going to give up that? Do you think they're going to give up that easy cash cow, the nuclear industry? My problem is I give a fucking shit. That makes me weak, right? Any commercial operations are still at least a couple of years away. A couple of years away! They've been saying that for 50 fucking years. Wake up. Myriad insiders have used the opportunity, a whole bunch of insiders have used the opportunity created by the peaking stock to cash out some holdings. Bigelow sold 9.4 million of the stocks in the week ending September 19. Clients sold 6.7 million. Yeah, but they just bought the fucking stocks. 3 weeks later, they sold them. Rinse and repeat, over and over and over. It's called a Ponzi scheme, and the stock market allows it to happen. The regulatory agencies allow it to happen because that's the scam. In the meantime, the massive boom in data center continues to drive up energy costs. Right? Inflation. Speculation has driven up inflation, has created more inflation, along with what Russia and the fuckheads have done to us. Some of the country's biggest spikes can be attributed to the rising data center activity. There is no rising data center activity. What the fuck are you talking about? Build your own fucking power sources. Why is it only small modular reactors which don't exist is the only solution? How did we get that stupid? New memorandum of understanding, which means nothing, sets the stage for Vietnam's first nuclear power plant. A memorandum of understanding. I can guarantee you that's not Vietnam right there. Oh, this was at the World Atomic Week Forum in Moscow. So a lot of these stories were meant to promote the idiots who were stupid enough to go to the World Atomic Week. That's all that was about. Investing in nuclear power. I like new-scale power stocks up 213% in 2025. Like, the reason that the stocks went up at all, they flatlined after Fukushima for around 11 years. And there was a company in Canada that showed up. Thank goodness I can't remember their name right now because that'll drive me over the deep end if I did. Had bought up all the physical uranium. They didn't take possession of it, he bought it up for like $30 a pound or something. And that created an artificial demand for the miners, right? So the miners, without telling the investors what really happened, said, well, there's a big demand. We're going back to work. Should buy stocks. And then all the big media pumped that out there. The stock markets and portfolios started accumulating the stocks, knowing that mom and pops who worked all their life would eventually start buying the stocks. The price would go up and they would sell theirs and take a massive profit away from the hardworking people. And that cycle has been going straight at it for about 3.5 years. Strong modular reactors have strong growth potential. Well, how could they if they don't exist? Geothermal has a strong growth potential, but they exist, so that they can't be real, see, because they actually exist. Why are they allowed to get away with this? And look at the harm they're doing. We can't have a future because these fucking nut jobs exist. Stock has more than tripled in value. The reason? Rapidly rising interest in small-scale idiot nuclear. NuScale, by the way, is arguably the leading developer of small modular reactors. If they're the leading developers, we're in a lot of fucking trouble because they're not developing anything. They have a incomplete application into the regulatory agency, which for some nutjob reason gave them a license because they happen to be insiders anyway. But they haven't, like, the application is 2 million pieces of paper. They don't even have 1 million pieces in for the design, right? There is no fucking design. Small-scale nuclear has been a dream for decades. Longer than that. NuScale has the first and only small modular reactor certified by the Non-Nuclear Regulatory Commission. And so they're the only ones with an application. So then what the fuck are we even talking about this industry for? Because they don't even have a reactor. So how could anybody else have it? And I'm angry because of these fucking stories. I'm angry that we don't have any ability to have a future because we have the stupidest industry ever created, nuclear industry on this fucking planet. The company already has 12 reactors under construction. What the fuck are you talking about? NuScale management believes they could handle up to 20 reactors per year as demand materializes. What the fuck are you talking about? These are 50 watts. So if you got 20 of them, that's 1,000 megawatts. That's a gigawatt. Whoopee fucking do. Right? It's just meant to entice the investor who doesn't know any better and rob them of their profits. That's all it's meant to do. This year there's going to be around 900 gigawatts of fucking solar, for Christ's sakes. So why would you give a fuck about a gigawatt of nuclear? Even if it was going to come true, which is not. Is Oklo the key to unlocking nuclear energy $10 trillion artificial intelligence? No. How the fuck could it be? NuScale doesn't even have a reactor. They're the only one with a license. Oklo got nothing. The company employs over 300 people worldwide. The Motley Fool. That story's from the Motley Fool. Literally the dirtbags of dirtbags on this planet. High Order analyst reveals more signs of phase change turbulence in nuclear matter. They got tons of fucking money for nuclear. And no money for geothermal. No money for storage. No money, unless it's batteries. Because you know batteries will drive you fucking nuts and is useless. But there's tons of solutions for storage. And geothermal is your dream technology. It's right there. Quasi-electric just done a test run. We'll get to it in a bit. Members of the STAR collaboration, a group of physicists collecting and analyzing data from the particle collisions at the Heavy Ion Collider. These are sadistic demons, these people. Department of Energy, Brookhaven National Laboratory. Brookhaven National Laboratory, which is down by New Jersey, I think, is it? Man, the pollution they cause is it's unprecedented. All of their neighbors hate their fucking guts. Berkeley Lab has played a central role in STAR. Berkeley's been promoting nuclear for almost 90 years. University of California. Triggered significant excitement in the theory community. A Berkeley Lab nuclear theorist. In other words, a piece of shit. That's the definition of a piece of shit. The worst humans imaginable is the nuclear industry. Here you go. You want a solution? Here's a fucking solution for you that actually exists. A source equal to 50,000 times all of humanity's energy needs may soon be within America's reach thanks to this laser, a gyrotron. Quasi-energy demonstrated groundbreaking capabilities in Marble Falls, Texas, where the gyrotron laser system vaporized 118 meters of solid granite using millimeter wave electromagnetic radiation. 118 meters. Now, I don't like the word radiation. Don't get me wrong. That drives me nuts too. There's other ways to do it besides this. The demonstration showcased unprecedented drilling speeds of 5 meters per hour, which is 50 times faster than any conventional drills. Surpassing traditional granite drilling rates by over 50 times. But they can't get any money. They got to beg and steal to raise enough money to do some tests. We got tons of money for the nuclear, tons of money for fusion, tons of money for small modular reactor, tons of money to throw at dumps, 90% of it all every bit of all of that is stolen through administration. We got no fucking money for solutions that actually exist. Previous conventional methods struggle to achieve 10 centimeters hourly progress through similar rock density. So you went through 15 feet an hour versus 10 centimeters an hour. Hey, fuck it, it works. We can't use that. That's stupid. It actually works. America's nuclear industry enjoys both public and private sector support. Geothermal gets no fucking support. Do you think this is an accident? That the worst humans on the planet is in charge of your energy department worldwide? Yeah, well, I don't usually get cranky like this. It's just all the news I'm reading lately got me drove over the fucking deep end. During National Clean Energy Week, the Director of the Federal Government Affairs, Melanie Rodriguez, at the Nuclear Energy Institute, led a discussion about exciting advancements in the U.S. nuclear development. Yeah, because there's a whole bunch of nuclear conferences worldwide going on this month, and so they got to come out with all these headlines to try to trick people into thinking this industry actually has any redeeming qualities. For example, President Trump announced the goal of adding 300 gigawatts of new capacity by mid-century, 4 times more than currently exists. Yeah, we covered a story earlier where it's only going to be a 65% increase. Not 300, not tripling, but a little over half of what the current capacity is. Wyoming, Utah, Idaho push for nuclear renaissance. They're pushing, again, all these stories today is about small modular reactors, or idiot fusion, moron fusion, shit for brain fusion, non-existent fusion, non-existent small modular reactors. A couple of hundred nuclear energy industry officials, right, where's the fucking terrorists when you need them? Along with 2 Western state governors, a Trump administration official, and a member of the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission. A lot of diapers sold there that week, a bit. Gathered Monday at the Idaho National Laboratory, sprawling 890 square miles. Like, I have a list of certain places. Savannah River is 800 square kilometers. Los Alamos is 89 square kilometers. Santa Susana is 1,000 hectares. And they had the nuclear meltdown there in 1959. It was a sodium reactor that's still hemorrhaging into the environment today. It was equal to 460 3-mile islands. Idaho National Laboratory is 890 square miles. Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. Oak Ridge National Laboratory. WIP, Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. There's 5,000 staff there. Chalk River in Canada, shit for brains. Sandina National Laboratory, 35 kilometers. Argonne National, these are all disasters. These are all disease factors covering your whole planet with emissions all year long. Argonne National Laboratory, Nevada National Security Site, 3,500 square kilometers, size of Rhode Island. Thomas Jefferson National Laboratory, Hanford, 585 square miles. Brookhaven, McAllister, all they make is dirty bombs there. They got 1,000 facilities there. All they make is dirty bombs. For the A-10 Warthog, the Abrams tank, the soldiers. Santa Susana was equal to 433 mile islands. Chernobyl done a sex ratio study on Europe. And it closed 9,400 farms on islands, Scotland, United Kingdom. Soviet Union single bomb was equal to 3,800 Nagasaki's. Castle Bravo in the Bikini Atoll, the Marshall Islands, was equal to 1,000 Nagasaki bombs. The fucking amount of releases from this industry, how anybody can even say for 1 second that it has any right to exist is beyond concept. You got to be one evil, fucked up moron to suggest this industry should be allowed to exist. Wind scale contaminated all of the Atlantic Ocean, all of Europe. Dynamite, they figured 315 fucking years to clean that up. Fukushima picked up 60 million one-ton bags, 60,000 square miles seriously contaminated, and North America and the rest of the planet. In the entire Pacific Ocean, tidal zones were wiped out. Why would you have this fucking industry on your planet for? A rising nuclear power interest threatens Phoenix strained water supplies. Indonesia projects 6,800 green jobs. Look at the picture to show you. How are you going to get a green job from nuclear? How can you call nuclear green? It's just this perpetual lies. You keep saying it and people start repeating it. That's the pipe dream, apparently. Positioning the atomic energy as part of its wider transition towards renewables. Why not geothermal? Why do you need to transition? Why would you waste all your money on nuclear when you can take it and double the capacity with geothermal? Projections indicate the solar industry can employ 348,000 people, hydro 129,000 people, and battery 68,000. Why would you develop batteries for it? You can store heat, like 700 degree Fahrenheit temperatures, in sand for around a month to 2 months at a time. You can get lava rocks, and there's endless supply of that on our planet. We'll store 3,000 degree Fahrenheit temperatures for fucking months. You can have windmills that you can use compressed air with extra energy and store it in deep caves or boreholes. And you can harvest the heat from that compression and store it in sand and lava rocks to help unpack it when you want to expand it. Compressed air storage is out there. It works really good. It's like a 78, 79% efficiency too. Why would you fucking mention batteries? Incentivize super hot rock geothermal exploration. Why would you do geothermal? How could geothermal be a bad fucking idea? U.S. electricity demand is projected to rise significantly due to data center. Well, fuck the data center. We're doing okay without it. That's not a good excuse to poison the fucking planet for another billion years. Geothermal-based electricity has potential to become a significant source of electricity. It needs more federal assistance to achieve its full potential. No, there's no money left over. Nuclear needs all the money, all the precious metals. And geothermal don't even use precious metals. Japan's earthquake global hawk UAV may be able to peek inside the damaged reactors. This is the 17th of March. This is day 6. So all the reactors, this is the 15th of March. All the reactors are blown up. You don't need to peek inside these fucking things. And you can't because they rejected the reactor core and the fuel pools right out of the fucking buildings. Helicopters and cannons spray water in Japan's unstable nuclear plant. Helicopters and water. Those that are latest, like all 600 helicopter pilots died in Chernobyl, for goodness sakes, in the first couple of weeks. You won't see that on Wikipedia. They closed 9,400 farms and islands in Scotland and the United Kingdom. You won't see that on Wikipedia. A desperate attempt. It's already fucking gone. To stabilize Japan's... How are you going to stabilize something that doesn't even exist anymore? When they were saying that, this is what it looked like. The decades of reactor cores were at the top of the building. They're gone too. How come common sense doesn't matter? How come it has to be just a fucking fantasy constantly? On Thursday morning, steam flowed from the spent fuel storage pool in number 3 reactor. Steam? Does that look like fucking steam? And international authorities argued over the severity of the situation in number 4 reactor storage pool. The international authorities, argued over the severity of number 4 reactor. This is what it looked like. There wasn't a single expert that looked at that and said the fuel pool were intact or even existed anymore. And you're talking about, around 8 reactor cores are gone from a single building. Don't worry though, Chernobyl's worse, Dana. I know Chicken Neck, I know. 2 Chinook helicopters capable of carrying 7,000 kilos of water to drop seawater over the stricken number 3 reactor. Really going to drop water on that? What's the point? The helicopter floors were fitted with lead plates. Well, how thick can the lead be on the helicopter, really? How effective would that be? So, because all 600 helicopter pilots died in Chernobyl, they have graveyards. Some of the helicopters were brand new, were only used once. And then they had to go to the graveyard for helicopters because they were so radioactive. Who also wore paper suits. Number 3 reactor building was damaged, not by a hydrogen explosion, but by you going from 1,000 pounds square inch to a couple of thousand pounds, and then the reactor blew up. It's already at 1,000 pounds per square inch. It's hard to appreciate this is supposed to be a 190-foot building. It's hard to appreciate how big those pilings actually are. Like you ejected the reactor core and the fuel pools right into the building. Bloop, right out of the building. The water was intended to help cool down the overheating spent fuel pools. There is no overheating spent fucking fuel pools, and they knew it. So why would the media, this is what the media does. It's there to cut your fucking throat. It's not there to have a conversation. It's there to cut your throat. Have I got enough energy left in my computer to... I plugged it in this rate. I forgot. I get a little cranky because I don't like watching our planet fucking die. I know it sounds crazy, but I should care. But I do. I really do. I get a little too passionate. It appears that the storage pool in number 3 building is heated up and some of the water may have evaporated. I don't know. Evaporated? Ejected the reactor core right into the fucking building. No, it evaporated, Dana. Well, let's look at... I'll show you the video because why not? It doesn't matter. Nobody gives a fuck anyway. Let's play the video of the water evaporating. Remember, these are 190-foot buildings right there. 19-story, 65-meter buildings. These are slow motion. The big chunks you're seeing falling back down, they're the size of houses. That's the fuel pools, the reactor cores falling back to the earth. The fuel pool's got 7, 8, 9 reactor cores. Probably a lot more, but you'll have at least 6 reactor cores in the building every decade in the fuel pools. And they're 3.5 decades old at that point. Following alarming congressional testimony from Jasko, chairman at the time of the U.S. Non-Regulatory Commission, he stunned listeners by declaring that there was little or no water remaining in the storage pool of number 4. The fuel pools were all the reactor cores, leaving the spent fuel rods exposed and leaking radiation. What the fuck are you talking about? If the rods are exposed, then they blow up. Does it look like it blew up to you? Do you see the pumping water into the fuel pool, which are at the top of the fucking building, not the bottom of the building? You see the guts hanging out of the building? Jasko knows the difference. The nuclear industry is incapable of telling the truth about anything. In fact, if I cut the nuclear industry telling the truth, I'll donate everything I got to the fucking Red Cross and I'll retire. A self-defense force pilot flying over the nuclear wasteland reported seeing water in the spent fuel storage pools of reactor building 4. Yeah, this is the official picture from TEPCO, and that's the official picture from TEPCO. Which one do you think is real? The industry is so evil, it doesn't know how to be reasonable. It can't even be reasonable. No steam was seen escaping from the number 3 building immediately after the last helicopter pass, rather. Nothing was seen escaping from the building, you say? Everything was ejected right out of the fucking building on the 14th. Also announced that the National Police Agency has special water cannon trucks and crews are ready to move in. You know, firefighters, not nuclear experts, because they're not going there, to begin spraying water directly into the reactor that doesn't exist. If you don't hate this industry, there's something fucking wrong with you. According to the NHK, the water failed to reach its target. The operation was soon suspended due to high radiation levels. In a separate press conference, officials from the Japs Nuclear Industrial Safety Agency, which are literally sadistic monsters, said the workers were trying to reconnect the Fukushima plant to outside power lines. Really, you're going to connect that to outside power lines, are you? That's reactor 3. That's reactor 4. You think you're going to connect fucking power to that? Anybody? Anybody that naive? So plant operators were running on emergency cooling systems, generators, and batteries. Do you got any idea how batshit fucking lunatic crazy that statement actually is? Well, because people don't know any better, except for the nuclear industry. The nuclear industry is not going to tell you the truth. Zilch. And all the university students, right, they cut your fucking throat every day on videos on YouTube and everywhere else. Their job is cut your fucking throat. That's what a nuclear student's job is, cut your fucking throat. What the fuck is this? You got a bus of journalists, right? And like I don't get this at all. You got a bus of journalists going through Fukushima, and you got guys in paper suits stood up there with Geiger counters going, "You're okay, Georgie." And they're vigorously writing for their articles. In a normal world, these people would all be in jail and death row. Everybody in the nuclear industry, everybody at the International Atomic Energy Agency, and IRPA, and UNSCLEAR, and the IAEA would be on death fucking row in a normal, half fucking civilized planet. Nuclear industry wouldn't be allowed to exist for 2 seconds in a normal fucking environment. Not that we'll ever see that happen. Let me see. I apologize, you're pretty fucking miserable tonight. Watching our planet being destroyed, kind of, sometimes, not very often, but every once in a while, my brain will fall apart, and I can't handle it anymore. Oh, there's a little bit of good news tonight. James got out another video. That's what we started off tonight with. It was one of James Luce's anti-nuclear videos, and brother, he's got some awesome stuff. This one. Nuclear site operation soundscape. We're going to play it. Excellent. Here's your last chance to vote. Hello, everybody. Hugs for everybody. Has the nuclear industry contaminated every square inch of Earth? And every bird, animal, manimal, insect, every human, every child, and every drop of water on the entire fucking planet? Yes. You better get your act together, planet. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be more civilized. I won't be swearing. Even though that felt good, I must admit. Being naughty. I apologize. Have a great night. Have a great day tomorrow. Hugs for everybody. See you on the next one. Tomorrow night, same time. Hopefully. Take care.
Pressure steady at 412.
Temps edging up.
I see it. Switching to backup.
Flow on 2 is still down.
Backup's holding steady.
Built the plant in 53, Pike and Portsmouth DOE, U-235.
Coolant flow holding at 67%.
Heavy metal drift with rain. They cracked the pipe, they dropped the shell, still denied what tests could tell. Open air, no tent in place, children sick, no public trace. Atomic corruption, filed it safe, never discussed. Paper trail burned to dust. You won't find what you won't trust. Atomic corruption, carried down the river bend. Across the state, you can't pretend. This don't poison in the end. Kids with cancer, no cause name. Dust and screws, they never claim. No swab, no test, no agency. Just
Nuclear is increasingly vulnerable.
bureaucracy.
Lose the grid, lose the cooling,
Costly to
lose
contain,
control.
but built a dud dump across the drain. Green up CO2, same report filed. The fish are gone, blame climate change. Atomic corruption, stamped and sealed, they walked away. Still the isotopes don't stray. Bound to air, not bound to say. Atomic corruption, they marked 5 counties in the plan. Laughed at Kentucky's open land. Told us hillbillies won't understand. Technetium tracked 14 miles. Same as plant, same toxic file. Lawrence Livermore drew the lines, but DOE said never mind. Births malformed, no press release. No study done, no state police. The river holds what they won't name. Atomic corruption, open air across the fields. Science told them never heal. not a claim. Atomic corruption.